How you doing, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm having a look at the Mars Toys Mr. W. Quick look at the box here. Very kind of plain box. You can see we have the city of Gotham in the background. Not the easiest thing to see with my background. Mr. W printed on the front, 1/6 scale collectible figure. And on the side we have 1/6 scale collectible figure again. And then on the back we have some images of the figure with and without the overcoat on. And some information about Mars Toys. And then while I open up the box, I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button if you like this kind of content. And then on the slip cover on the inside we have another sleeve or slip over the front of everything. Really nice gothic imagery on the artwork. And then if I can pull off this slip without ripping anything, there we go, we have the figure and all of its accessories in the clamshell. So that's pretty much it for the box. So moving on, let's do a quick pan of the figure and before we get into the details. So here we are for a quick pan of Mr. W, aka Mr. Nuts by Mars Toys. And Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne or Batman set the benchmark for how Batman is depicted on screen and has had an influence on every depiction of Batman on screen ever since, in my opinion. His brooding, intense performance almost 40 years ago really set the benchmark. His casting was not without controversy. When he was cast, he was mostly known for comedy roles such as Beetlejuice and Mr. Mom, which caused outrage from fans, leading to over 50,000 letters of protest to Warner Brothers. However, Tim Burton kept the faith, and Keaton's performance put all of the doubt to bed with his stoic performance that defied all expectations. The contrast of his depiction of Bruce Wayne and the Caped Crusader was outstanding. This movie popularised the more darker superhero movies, with a global box office of over $400 million in 1989, which in today's money is over 1.5 billion. So that was a huge box office smash. And anybody who was around at the time would remember Batmania. It was massive. It was everywhere. It was crazy. Keaton read the script and immediately understood what he had to do. And he cut a lot of his dialogue for when he was in the Batsuit and allowed the Batsuit itself to do the talking, which the final product showed was the right move. He went one step further for Batman Returns and cut more than half of his dialogue for when he was in the Batsuit. And I want to add, the line, "You want to get nuts, let's get nuts," was actually improv by Michael Keaton. It wasn't in the script, and it became his most recognisable line in his whole career, which is amazing. So there we are for a quick pan of the figure. So moving on, let's have a look at the accessories. So here we are for all of the accessories that come with Mr. Nuts, with the poker just out of frame. But starting off with his hands, we have 8 hands in total. Gripping hands, relaxed palms, some gripping hands specifically for the poker, and some open palm gesturing hands. Painted quite well, generic hands, but there's a little bit of rosiness in them to give them a bit of life, and a nice array of gestures there for everything you need. And then moving on, we have his glasses. These also came with the original Mr. W Bruce Wayne figure by Mars Toys. They're exact copies of them, reused. Metal frames, if I can get it to focus. No glass or lens inside them, but they do the job, they do the trick. You have to be careful with putting these on that you don't scratch the figure because they're made out of metal. And then finally getting the poker into frame. Then we have the tray that Bruce Wayne puts inside his cardigan or his jacket, anticipating the gunshot from the Joker. Nice little bit of detail in it there. It is all plastic. And then on the back, a nice little bit of detail again is the bullet on the other side of it. When Vicky Vale picks it up and looks at it, she sees the bullet hole or the bullet in the other side of the tray. So really nice little attention to detail to put that bullet in it. Then we have the 2 flowers that Bruce Wayne hands to Vicky Vale when he meets her at the door. I do believe that one of the flowers in that scene is kind of crushed and a little bit drooping, a little bit broken. Not 100% accurate, but I mean that's a nitpick, to be honest. And then we have the poker that he uses when he says the famous words, "You want to get nuts." Really nice little bit of detail in this. Let me move this out of the way and get a better look at this. Really nice little bit of detail in it, with the handle of it there having some nice sculpted work, some nice mould on it. moving up to the length of it is pretty spot on, and then we have it coming to not a point, but it does taper in, and then some nice little detailing up it as well, all plastic, painted in a chocolate brown. So there we are. Oh, and real quickly, actually, I don't know whether some people would call this an accessory or not. Some people wouldn't. I don't think clothing is really an accessory. We do have the overcoat that he arrives at Vicky Vale's wearing. Really well done. We'll have a look at it on the figure a bit later on. Nice little bit of lining in it. Tailored quite well. All the buttons in all the right places. Functioning pockets. And they are to scale as well. You can actually fit his hand in the pocket, which is nice. I can't say that about a lot of 1/6 scale figure manufacturers. A lot of them underscale the pockets. And the nice detail of the extra layer of material over the back of it as well, just like most trench coats. So yeah, adds that a little bit more accuracy. There we have it. So moving on, let's have a look at the figure itself. So here we have Mr. W standing pretty much straight up out as he comes out of the box. Starting off in my usual form, we'll work from bottom to top. As far as I can tell, these are accurate brown shoes that he's wearing. Not something I paid that much attention to, but like most third-party figures, he does have these toothpick legs that don't fill out the shoe. Quite a lot of companies that do this, including licensed companies. Some licensed companies do that as well. I believe the Hot Toys Moon Knight recently, or Mr. Knight, had the same issue with his legs. Nice mold on the shoe, nice little bit of detail on the laces, and some creases sculpted in on the shoes, and a kind of a little bit of a grip, if I can get the light in a little bit better, a kind of a grip on the sole of them there. Not really much else to say about them. Chocolate brown shoe, they do the job. They're serviceable. Moving up to the trousers, I'd have to look back at the movie. I personally think that the length of the trousers is a little bit long and a little bit baggy on them, which is a stark contrast to the Harvey Dent figure, which I felt the trousers were a little bit too short on if I just grab them there. You can see the Mars Toys Mr. Dent, I just thought they were Mr. D, the trousers were a bit short. So, but the fashion in the 80s was a little bit baggier, so maybe it is accurate. A tan suit on him there. And I've looked back at the movie, and I've looked back in 4K, and I think personally the suit is a light little bit of shade off. Just looking at it from, like I said, on just looking back at the movie, the colour grading makes it look a little bit more on the grey side, or closer to a grey on Michael Keaton in the movie. So a little bit off colour in my opinion. It should be closer to a grey, as far as I can tell by just looking at screenshots from the movie. No complaints about the tailoring. The stitching on it is absolutely fantastic. Mars Toys tailoring seems to be getting better and better every time they make a figure. No complaints, other than maybe this slight colour inaccuracy as far as I'm concerned, and a little bit long on the legs. But it was 1989, as I said, and the fashion was everything was a little bit looser, so maybe the trouser length is accurate, but the colour, as far as I'm concerned, isn't quite right. The sleeves meet the wrists as they should. You know, accurate enough as far as I'm concerned. And it's not too bulky, although there's a little bit of space here, a little bit of space up in the shoulder area, but it's not too bulky, not too bad. And then underneath the blazer we have a really well done cardigan, because it's not too bulky. It looks like a wool cardigan, but it's so thin that it doesn't bulk him out too much. It's really well done. And remember, he has to have the coat on over this as well, so with all the layers on, he doesn't bulk out. He's not bulked out. I think it's really well done. I can't get over how well this cardigan is done and how thin it's done to not bulk him out too much. No sleeves on it. I'm not sure how accurate that is. We don't see him without the blazer on in the movie, so I would assume there is sleeves on the cardigan, but Mars Toys felt it not necessary to put the sleeves in. And then we have his movie accurate tie on him, and his movie accurate shirt on him as well, although the collar is slightly oversized, ever so slightly oversized than it was in the movie, but it doesn't look too bad on the figure. It looks fine. So that's pretty much it for the figure, because it is a dude in a suit, so there's not a whole lot of intricate details to go through. Buttons in all the right places, as I said. The pockets on the blazer are non-functioning, which is not entirely necessary. Nice little bit of brown lining inside the jacket as well, but the pockets on the trousers are functioning, and they are scaled correctly. If I can do this ever so crudely and get this done. I forgot to mention about the hands as well. The hands are made out of a really soft plastic, and they're quite pliable, so you know, they do bend a little bit and have a little bit of give in them. But if I can do this, am I going to mess this up, or am I going to get this right? There we go. Just, you can get the hand in the pocket, as you can see, and that's great that Mars Toys have actually scaled the pockets correctly. Really nice for Mars Toys to do that. As I said, not every manufacturer does that. I'm looking at you, Hot Toys, by the way. So let's put the overcoat on them and have a look. So here we have the overcoat on Mr. W, or Mr. Nuts, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting him to stand. He keeps falling over. The one thing I have a huge gripe with Mars Toys for the last couple of figures is the ankle joints are so loose and so weak that you wouldn't be freestanding him up. He does need his stand to stand him up. Not the greatest body in the world, but it is third party, so I will forgive them. I've left the collar up on the jacket because in that scene when he arrives at Vicky Vale's door, he does have the back of the collar up. Now this part here is down. It's just the back of it that's up, but unfortunately in figure form and 1/6 scale, I can't get the front part down and the back part up, so you have to put the whole collar up. But as for the tailoring and the fit, it's absolutely fine. It looks great. The belt is a little bit rigid, so it doesn't flow naturally, it doesn't drape naturally. I'd need to crease that or press it down to get it to drape down a bit more accurately. A nitpick, not the end of the world. Looking back at the screenshots of the movie, it seemed a bit looser on him, a little bit more tailored than it should be. 80s fashion, as I said. The sleeve length is absolutely fine. Some really nice detail of these little, bits on the cuff, and like a little belt loop on the cuff to adjust the cuffs and the button. All the buttons in all the right places, as I mentioned, and the colour on the jacket seems to be accurate enough for the scene in the movie with the colour grading. Like I said, just the suit, it's just a little bit lighter than it should be, as it was in the movie with the colour grading, I keep saying. But no issues with the coat. Look at the attention to detail with this little chin strap piece, although there's no button on the other side, but it does have this little, extra piece of material here. Just the finer detail is absolutely fantastic. The stitching running through it is absolutely fantastic as well. It's great. No issues with the stitching in the, in the shoulders there. No issues. It looks double layered with how this piece here comes over where the sleeve is, and as I mentioned earlier, the extra piece of material on the back as well. All looks excellent. It looks exceptional. I'm really happy with it. And I'm kind of torn between how to pose them. Do I pose them with the coat on, because it looks great with the coat on, but I do like the idea of posing them in that, famous part of the scene where he says you want to get nuts with the poker in his hand. So I am a bit torn. So I've got some decisions to make, and I do have to adjust that tie a bit, futz with that tie a little bit just to get it right. As I said, the ankles, he does struggle to stand, which is a little bit unfortunate. So there we have it. So let's have a look at the head sculpt. And here we have the Michael Keaton head sculpt by Mars Toys, and it's a huge improvement on the previous one. It looks 10 times better. A mega upgrade on the 1.0 Mr. Nuts. I was honestly gonna look for another Hot Toys Batman Returns head sculpt to use on this figure, but looking at it, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's needed. I think this is absolutely acceptable. It's serviceable. It looks the part. So I don't think I need to get one on eBay or wherever it is I may need to buy it. This head sculpt does the job, looks the part. No rolling eye function, unfortunate, so he does have that little bit of a dead stare on him. It is what it is. But if you pop the glasses on him, which I'll do just now, so here we have the glasses on him. He looks even better again with the glasses on. It looks even better again with the glasses on her. You know, again in that scene where he lifts the poker, he doesn't have the glasses on. So, you can see that I haven't actually quite got that over his ear. A little bit of a struggle to get it over his ear because the sculpt doesn't really allow for it to go proper over his ear, unfortunately. But you get the idea. You know, a little bit of futzing about. You got it over that ear. It's kind of acceptable, I suppose. Yeah, really huge improvement on the 1.0 sculpt. The paint applications are far better than the 1.0. He does have a little bit of colour to him, where the 1.0 was a bit pale, bit of a ghostly look to him. The hair is vastly improved. The sculpting on the hair, a little bit of depth to it. It's not, you know, absolutely out of this world, but it absolutely does the job. You can see the flow in the hair flow, and the hairline is improved, and the bushiness of the hair that Keaton had back in the day. It's all there, and he does have these little wisps of hair painted onto his forehead, and I'm not entirely sure if I like them or not. They're not overdone, they're not overkill. They're just about acceptable. Any more than that and it would have looked odd. So yeah, it's kind of a, you know, the vote's quite not in yet as to whether I like those wisps of hair painted to his forehead. Let me get the glasses off again if I can without scratching them up and without causing too much hassle. They really are kind of stuck on him there. Once you wrap them around the ear, they're a bit difficult to get off. I have to be careful not to you know, scrape the head sculpt. And there we go. That was a little bit more difficult than anticipated. So there we have it without the glasses on again, just for a final quick look at him. I'm not sure, to be honest, which look I prefer. I think I'll keep the original 1.0 with the glasses. Well, no, I'm actually using the Hot Toys head sculpt with the glasses on, and I'll leave this one with the glasses off to replicate that scene for where he lifts the poker and says to the Joker, "You want to get nuts?" Again, I think the sculpt is absolutely fantastic for a third party, and the price point, the nose might be a little bit wider than it should be. He does have the Michael Keaton signature arched eyebrows, and his lips are pretty spot on for Michael Keaton as well. Just the nose to me is just a little bit wide, and as I said, the paint applications are hugely improved. A little bit of speckling and a little bit of texture on the look at that angle. From that angle there, it looks great. A little bit of rosiness in the cheeks and the ears. This you know, this angle here looks really like him. The dead on straight look without the rolling eyeball function has a bit of a dead stare to it. Side profile is pretty okay as well for Michael Keaton. Just this like 3/4 turn on him, this side look angle is almost uncanny. It looks really good. So I've spoken about the 1.0 enough, so let's actually do a comparison. So on the left here we have the 2.0, and on the right we have the 1.0, both Mars Toys Mr. W figures. And you can tell the difference is night and day. Like the 1.0 is really soft and really pale. I know I have the lights blasting them out of it, so the 2.0 looks a little bit paler as well, but in hand it does definitely have more colour to it. The accuracy is way better on the 2.0. The hair is way better. The hairline is way better. It's just an overall much better looking figure. Head sculpt, should I say. And you know, if you're going to go for one of them, I would go for the 2.0. And if you want to change the outfit, you know, you could go on to 1/6 kit and get a, you know, a tuxedo from there if you want to use the head sculpt and you're not too happy with this outfit. But I would definitely go for this version rather than the 1.0. So there we have it for the Mars Toys Mr. W or Mr. Nuts 2.0, I suppose you could call it. Really great figure for the price point, really good head sculpt. And if you made it this far, please don't hesitate to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps grow my small channel. So with that said, thanks very much for watching, and I suppose I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.